Alright, this is Math 6, Module 4, Lesson 16. Write expressions in which letters stand for numbers. And it says, mark the text by underlining key words and then write an expression using variables and or numbers for each of the statements below. Amaya picked X amount of apples. Took a break and then picked V more. Write the expression that models the total number of apples Amaya picked. Well, first we have to underline the key words. What are some key words here? There you go. That is the key word. More. What does that tell us to do? Add. So we would say X plus V. And that is it. Number 2, a number H is tripled and then decreased by 8. What are the key words? Triple and decreased. So how would we write that? Okay, you could say H times 3, but what would be an easier way to do that? 3H. Always start with your number. Okay. 3H, then decrease, which is minus 8. We're good? Number 3, Sydney brought S carrots to school. That means a certain amount, not carrots shaped like an S. Okay. And combine them with Jennings J carrots. She split them equally among 8 friends. All right, so what are some words that we need to underline? Combine. Okay, splits equally. Correct. So how would we write this? S plus J. And if you put all of that over 8, that means you have to add S plus J to divide by 8, right? Simon said you may want to put it in parentheses. That's okay. If you want to put it in parentheses first, that is fine. Normally, if you're going to put it in parentheses like that, you would probably be writing it like this. Right? If you put it in a fraction, you know to do the numerator first. Okay? Now, 4 says 15 less than the quotient of E and D. What's some key word? Less than. Quotient. Okay? So how are we going to write this? Go on. How are we going to write that? Hannah, how are we going to write that? E what? Divided by D? Good. Perfect. E divided by D minus 15. Now, Marissa's hair was 10 inches longer and, nope, sorry, that's not what that says. Marissa's hair was 10 inches long, and then she cut H inches. What are you going to underline here? What would cut tell you to do? Yes. So it may not be a typical word that we're looking at, that we expect. But cut, we know that you're not adding to your hair if you're cutting your hair, right? So how would we write this, Chloe? That's it. Okay, go to the lesson 17 exit ticket. You can. You're going to do lesson 16 first, then do the video for lesson 17, then do the work for lesson 17, then watch the video for lesson 18 for homework. Okay? But I want to go ahead and do this while I have your attention on the whiteboard. Okay? And because it's got a lot to do with this, it's a lot of the same stuff. Okay? So this is Math 6, Module 4, Lesson 17, write expressions in which letters stand for numbers. Write an expression using letters or numbers for each problem below. Number 1, d squared. Gianna, how are we going to write d squared? What is d squared? Gianna, did you hear me? Okay, I didn't know you wasn't interacting with me. I didn't know if you heard me or if you were just in your own little world. Think about what is something that's squared. When we say 18 meters squared, what does that mean? We're talking about what? Huh? We're talking about area, right? We'd be talking about if something's squared. I always say if it's squared, it's squarea. Squared, squarea. So if we said d squared, that would mean what? You got to have length times width, right? D squared, or d to the second power. Okay. Number 2, a number x increased by 6, and then the sum is doubled. Ryan. Can we do x minus 6? You need to read that again. Are you on lesson 17? A number x increased by 6. What? Okay, x plus 6, and then what? Yep. If you double something, are you adding times 2? Correct. So we can put this in parentheses and then say times 2. Or you could have said x plus 6 times 2. If you write it like this and this, you do. Number 3, the total of h plus b is split into 5 equal groups. Janice. Good. Okay. You could write it like that, or you could have said h plus b over 5. Either way. Jasmine has increased her $45 by M dollars and then spends a third of the entire amount. Celine? Yep, so how would I write that? She does spend a third, but how do you write that? You don't, oh, I see what you're trying to do there, but you can't because you don't know what M is. What did you say, Simon? Yeah, so you could do divided by 3, because that would be how much she spent, right? She spent a third of it. Or I would say 1/3 times 45 plus M. Okay. All right, Simon, do 5. Bill, has D more than 3 times the number of baseball cards as Frank? Frank has M baseball cards. D plus 3F. Okay, that will work. That is perfect. Or 3F plus D, right? Perfect.